Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Rush Podcast, the flagship show for the Boss Rush Network. I am one of your hosts tonight, LeRon Dawkins, and we have a big crew with us tonight, even though we are short one of our regular co-hosts. So you guys might want to buckle up for this. Known throughout the entire Boss Rush community as the lady boss of the writing community, of the writing team. Hello, Stephanie Klimov. How are you tonight?
Great! I just got promoted to Lady Boss. I love it.
Okay, maybe we call you Lady Boss behind everybody's backs. Now, how about that?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, and joining us tonight are some. Well, let me see. We have a duo here. One half of this duo has already been met before during one of our 1v1 sessions with the wonderful Celeste Robert. Yes. But we have the entire duo here tonight. Wonderful, big welcome to Mystic and Sapphy from Lore Together. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Hi. Should we do our dorky intro? He's just like, hi, I'm Sapphy.
And I'm Mystic.
There you go. We did it.
Yes. Awesome. I love it. Oh, I got goosebumps for real.
Oh, we appreciate it. Oh my gosh. We love Big Party Network, and we're so happy we're finally on an episode, guys. We did it. Yay.
Yes, you made it.
I was saying off the air, and I'll say it again, I love listening to Lore Together. They do have that classic beginning, and I've always kind of put in the back of my mind, I'm like, we got to get him on Boss Rush at some point.
Aww. Oh, we really appreciate that. It's so funny because when I listen to you guys, in the background doing work and stuff, I'm like, I do not keep up with video game news enough to actually be worthy of being on these podcasts, but I appreciate that you guys wanted us on anyway.
Whatever. You know what? You guys are the guests tonight. Go ahead and tell our audience who you are. Let them know what you're about.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start because I'm the chatty extrovert of the two. Even though Mystic does all the research for every episode, and so most people hear him.
Not every, just most.
Yeah. So I think I'll start with how we became as a couple. So back. Because that's technically our origin story, right? Should we this is how this happened. So
wasn't video games though.
What? Well, so
it wasn't video games.
No, well, it wasn't initially video games. So this is so I'll tell it from my perspective first, and Mystic, you can add it in. So I was essentially in college, realizing that I was not going to find anybody worth my time dating in college, and I had always been one of those super serious, I want to settle down and find the man of my dreams and have bebes, and never quite happened the way I wanted it to because I'm a millennial and that's just kind of our plight. But anyway.
Wow. Okay.
Wait, what? Did I just bring down the mood?
Somebody had goals. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know.
Don't settle, girl. Don't settle.
I did not. So I'm a long range thinker too. But anyway, yeah. So I was like, you know what? I got to find somebody that's going to be worth my time. So
I'll just jump this ahead because as we go through a long, huge history of dating. Her first question to me was
through soulgeek.com. We have to mention that.
Okay, through soulgeek.com, which was a nerd dating site.
Yes.
Was what do you think of 4th edition D&D?
Yeah. 4th edition Dungeons
That's her
Dragons.
first question.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yep.
What?
Yep. So reached out, and then basically it was long distance while I was in college, and then I came back to Chicago. We read that early 20s trying to do our career kind of thing, and got married, got careers.
Yeah.
Have a kid now called Little Buddy, and
do a lot of video game research.
Actually, so that was one of the first things we did together, was actually playing the original Mass Effect on Xbox.
Oh my God, you messed up now. You messed up.
Well, the thing is, I would play and she would make all the choices.
Yeah,
because
I'm not good with most controllers. Now, for some reason, Nintendo Switch I actually am decent on now. But before, if you got me on an Xbox, and Mystic can tell you, joysticks and buttons and managing all that, it was you might as well just give me a potato.
I probably made her waste about 30 minutes leveling up Corporal Jenkins telling her that these guys are important.
No.
You totally. Yeah,
You
did
sadistic man.
Well, I wanted her to experience the way I did, because I did that. I was like, let me level him up. Let me make sure everyone's balanced. And what?
Yeah.
He's dead?
Oh my God.
Let me start that over. I probably did something wrong, despite the fact we just started.
Yeah, I've still done that with BioWare games. Like, I don't trust it when something messes up, and I'm like, no, wait, but I thought I did the thing right, and you did, and it's just BioWare just messing up.
Oh, come on! Like, come on! He was essentially a red shirt. He
right.
Yes.
He even came off like a red shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was.
But like, I still replay so many, like, after I know that it's not a thing that I can avoid.
Right.
But the first time I get through so many things, I'm like, that could have gotten better. Let me go replay that, even though it's a totally scripted thing. Like, Garrus getting shot in Mass Effect 2, I have done.
Gosh.
Like, when I first did it, I'm like, I have to go redo that whole thing. I did something wrong, Summer. I have to redo that whole thing. He can't be that hurt.
So wait, you just questioned it automatically. There was like no way in hell like Garrus is gonna get that pretty mug of his messed up.
No. But
Garrus was my bro, man. Like,
yes.
He can't be that screwed up.
If Garrus is in your romance, he's your bromance.
He had that badass code name, Archangel. Come on, man.
Yes.
He needed the scar to go with it.
Well, I don't know. I guess we didn't expect or you didn't particularly expect the scar to be so big. I don't think I questioned the explosion to the face as much. Maybe that says more about me than I realized.
It is the best line of, well, hell, Garrus, you're always ugly. Like,
but yeah, so we definitely
we could talk BioWare all day, though.
We literally could. But you
guys need to be in a conversation with Stoy too, because he's a huge BioWare fan.
Oh gosh,
we've been in it. So we've inadvertently been in a conversation with Stoy. He was on one of our streams.
He's on our streams. He's became one of our patrons, actually. So props to Stoy for that. Which, of course, then I gave him some flack. I was like, "Hey, we technically should be giving you grief because you don't think video games are art, and that's like our whole, thing." Which, but it's friendly grief. I didn't want to I wasn't here to make it a real thing. But we gave him a little
nice little razz.
Gave a little ribbing, and then we moved on and proceeded to continue to play Abduction, which was awesome. So,
except not that episode though, because that was the labyrinth of Abduction.
Oh gosh, that was a lot of let's press buttons and move the maze around 16 different ways. So yeah.
Well, I'm definitely interested in y'all's take on Mass Effect, because Stoy and I are actually doing the standard definition retrospective on the Mass Effect trilogy right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We actually, so once you're one of our episodes is, if you haven't heard it already, we have actually the 2 parts to it. We
have the First Contact in Mass Effect. We cover the First Contact War and then First Contact with
I gotta hear
the Citadel stuff.
I gotta hear this.
And then we have the whole second episode after that is about the book Mass Effect Revelation.
Yes.
So we covered that whole thing and Captain Anderson's story.
Captain Anderson. Oh man.
I actually need to read the books. That's the problem. I need to read the books.
Well, you can get the rundown in our episode, that's for sure.
Okay, I'm checking it out.
Yeah. See, the only reason why I held off listening to those episodes is because I bought Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I still have yet to crack it open. It's my goal to play it this year, but I'm like, I need to get on that.
Apparently, Stoy and I haven't worked on you enough, because we've basically got a good third of the Boss Rush entire crew playing Mass Effect right now, and apparently we have not done our job and gotten you on it yet.
I own it. Listen. I'm in Ghost of Tsushima.
What are you waiting for?
Because I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, okay, on the PlayStation.
Well, that's fair.
You get a pass.
That's totally fair.
You get a pass in.
Okay.
So what I'm hearing is when they eventually do the Mass Effect multiplayer update for Legendary Edition, we do a whole Boss Rush Games thing going on, right?
Then you learn how much I suck at multiplayer games.
Hey, same here. We can suck together. It'll be awesome.
Great, I get to carry 2 people.
No. The trick is you're the Geth engineer. If you're the Geth engineer, you just focus on the assists, man. That's all you got to do.
Oh man.
Well. As you guys can see, we're gonna have a lively show tonight. How's everybody been doing? Like it's Wednesday. We're well into we're basically in the hump night now.
Yeah.
As of the time of this recording.
Hey,
The hump late night. You want to go first, or
all I do is watch Little Buddy all day, so I don't have time
that's
for
not all
much.
you do? You also have a job. You're an entrepreneur outside of that,
Yeah.
essentially, with your.
But like in
doing
terms of like
stuff.
entertainment or gaming, like I've been listening to audiobooks lately.
Like, wait, which one have you been listening to?
I've been listening to The Martian again.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Wait, who narrated The Martian? I forget. Who narrated The Martian?
yeah, because it's not the author. It's
I think I can't remember his name. Bray something Ray.
Like it was like a really cool like narrator for that one.
Yeah, really good narrator. Really good audiobook too. In terms of games though, it's like Metopia.
yeah, same.
So
I'm not.
Okay.
And Guild Wars. Metopia and Guild Wars 2.
Okay, I was about to say I'm not going to laugh at you, but you definitely keeping it simple there.
Which honestly, it's so when you're dealing with a toddler, a game that only takes 10 minutes to get through each. Like, why are there inns in dungeons? It hurts my brain.
Oh my god!
But the fact that you can break a game up into 10-minute segments makes it much easier when you're watching a kid. Like,
Yeah,
that is true.
And we're trying to reduce screen time. It's really easy for us when we're watching them to try to lean on something where we can read to them. So at least there's some educational aspect. But we need to do less
gaming around him.
Gaming and less screen time in front of him.
Hence audiobooks.
Good luck. Good luck. It's so hard.
I understand it. Totally do. But as a side note, I'm going to hit you guys up like off the show at some point because someone else had mentioned to it in a conversation that like basically someone recommended writing an editorial of like what would be great games if you were just trying to raise a toddler at the same time, because it's hard to play real epic
Animal Crossing.
Yes.
All right, well, there's that. So
that was our first go-to.
It has the cute animals. It has a lot of text to read. It doesn't have voices, so you can do the voices and stuff, which makes it fun. Like, yeah. Animal Crossing.
It's also like my thing I always push on Little Buddy is counting, just because I'm like I want my child to be the science and math nerd I never was. So we'll see if that happens. I'm not going to force it, but we'll see. But like they've been doing a lot of counting. Like you count how many apples you picked off the tree. You count how many tomatoes you grew, stuff like that. So, yeah. And that's kind of like
I guess we answered your question before you even had a chance to ask it.
There you go. We're just on that same wavelength.
No, I actually, for what I've been doing, also Metopia. It's the sad thing is I love the dorky dumb stuff, and that's
There's so much dorky dumb stuff.
It's so dorky dumb. I'm even playing it if I'm not even watching Little Buddy. It's just so ridiculous and campy.
Sapphy calls me over there one day. She got ahead of me in the game, and she goes, "Mystic, look at this enemy." And it's a twerky. It is a twerking turkey.
What?
Yes, a twerky. I was almost offended. I was like, this is ridiculous. How could you? And it does. And if it hits you with its turkey butt. Like
no, it farts at you.
It also farts at you. It's just so immature.
It comes out of nowhere. Like that game has no semblance of like crude humor really until like that point, and then it doesn't again.
Right.
It's one enemy.
Yeah. So there's
it's pretty random.
It's super random.
I'm convinced that the inns in that game are portals.
Yeah, there's you know what? That should be like just a whole side.
We'll probably talk about stuff you guys haven't played yet.
Yeah. So
no, but it makes me want to play it.
Yeah.
It's worth if you want an RPG that you can play in like
short spurts.
Like it's almost a mobile game. In fact, I think it was a 3DS game first.
Yeah. It's pretty easy to do, and it's fun, and it gives you like if you just want that quick cute thing that's got a little bit of a dopamine rush for you, it does it perfectly fine. I also did a little bit of Animal Crossing because I always like keep up with that. Little buddy. And let's see if he
doesn't want to be left out. clearly.
No, clearly. Oh, I got to. Okay, I'm gonna go take care of this. Somebody else go, and I can go talk about my week in a bit.
Actually, this is the perfect time to break into housekeeping.
Oh
All right, so
Please hold.
this is the Boss Rush Podcast, the flagship show of the Boss Rush Network, where each and every week we get together with our friends from around the internet to talk about video games, gaming culture, everything we love about it. You can catch us live on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Network every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, or on Monday mornings on YouTube. Also, our podcast services or our website. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, you can find all of our content on our website at bossrush.net. And as a quick reminder, the store is now open where you can get all of our merch, including shirts, mugs, stickers, hoodies, and more. There's all sorts of swag out there. Check it out. New logos also include Snacktendo, Talk the Walk, and Sick. I feel like I'm missing something here. Sick?
Sick. It's Stoy's phrase. He's always saying sick.
That's
it's like
right.
his favorite word next to taint. Sick and taint are his two favorite words.
Yeah, we had a whole episode of Crossroads. We were talking about punching and kicking people in the taint. So yeah.
Seriously, it's like his fetish is like the taint. I'm telling you.
But yeah, all sorts of new logos there. And do not forget, head over to redbubble.com/BossRushNetwork or click on the store tab on our website. As always, links are also in the show notes. All right, so now we can get into what have we been playing. You know what? I think Sappy's still dealing with the little one. So,
Yep.
And Mystic, you already mentioned Metopia and Guild Wars 2, right?
Yep.
Wait, are the servers still open for Guild Wars 2?
Oh yeah. In fact, there's a new expansion coming out in next month.
Wow.
The servers are still running for Guild Wars 1.
Jesus. How come that's not winning awards for continuous game?
Because people ignore Guild Wars.
And by people, you mean the Game Awards.
Yeah. It's actually surprising. One of the games I was playing recently was Dragon Age Origins, and your continued use of the word taint reminded me of just how silly that game is with the word taint quite often. Because they're talking about the taint of the Darkspawn, and that just opens up a whole different level of visual imagery we don't need. And Sappy's kicking mics.
Wrecking mics left and right. Oh my gosh! Speaking of that taint, I think there's somewhere on YouTube somebody did a cross video of basically just a jokey like references of the taint in Origins in particular, and it ends with like this modded version of like a naked Duncan being like, "You must embrace the taint" or something like that. Like
Jesus.
so stupid. Yeah. So dumb.
Dear Lord.
Was there anything else you were playing or checking out this week, Mystic?
I'm trying to think. I'm doing 7 Days to Die.
Oh, that's our go-to, like with a certain group of
friends.
friends.
I'm doing 7 Days to Die. That's really about it, though. Again, not a lot of time to play at the moment.
Okay.
So, lot of Guild Wars when I do have time to not play Metopia.
Okay.
Right. So,
all right. Well, Sappy, you're up next. Let us know, what have you been playing, or what have you been watching or checking out this week? Besides a young human.
That sounds wrong.
Beside that
sounds kind of wrong. Dude. No. What have you been checking out besides the young human? Sounds kind of wrong.
That was definitely there might have been some alien speak. It's okay. I forgive it. Other than Metopia, because I think we talked that today, I would say, so I've been trying to get back into Dragon Age Inquisition because I really wanted to replay a version of the game where the world state is essentially, because, luckily I'm on a show I can curse now if I want to. So in canon, Varric Tethritz writes a book about what happens in Inquisition in like the sequel, the Trespasser, the DLC, and I think the title of it is like "All This Is Fucked Up" or something. Like that.
Yeah.
And so I did a world state where it's basically like the hero of Ferelden and the hawk that is in Dragon Age 2 didn't really do the cleanest or nicest things in their decisions and choices. And so then it's just my Qunari Inquisitor mage who is cleaning it up. And I named that world state like cleaning up all of this fucked up shit. Like, so I am working through that slowly. What else? I don't know. We do our live stream of where I'm playing through
Everybody's gone to the rapture.
Everybody's gone to the rapture. I keep wanting to call it everyone's gone to the rapture. And, and even though that's like technically for live stream, I'm kind of just doing it for fun because it's like, it's a game that's going to make you cry and you're going to be perfectly fine with it. So I love it. It's beautiful. It's got a really meaningful story. And then, so I'm a weirdo. I don't watch regular TV enough, and I really should, because I really need to catch up with the latest iterations of Star Trek, because I was loving, I stopped mid-season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, and I need to get back into it and everything.
Come on.
I know, and we haven't watched season 2 of Lower Decks. I'm just we're just a mess over here.
Okay. Let me tell you this without spoiling anything for Lower Decks season 2. I feel like Lower Decks season 2 stepped their game up from season 1.
Are you serious?
I've heard that. Yeah.
It had a perfect mix of fan service, but it also started feeling like Star Trek.
Nice. Okay. I'll have to check up, and I need to make time to make up for that. But so instead, what I do is I am such a spoilsport, and I will watch certain YouTubers who tend to analyze media and culture. Mm-hmm. And the one that I just watched yesterday that I really found interesting is there's a channel called Folding Ideas. Mm-hmm. And the guy who does that channel did it's over 2 hours basically about, it's a video essay arguing that NFTs are merely there to justify cryptocurrency. Oh. And it's very compelling. And I already have this kind of aversion to what NFTs are. Not to say that they should never exist.
So do much of the gaming community, apparently, after what happened with Ubisoft.
It's just, And essentially, it turns out NFTs, whatever they could have been, are becoming this additional way to grift in the weird cryptocurrency craze that we're in right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's also kind of analysis of the the guy basically, he goes, after a point, I joined one Discord to see what the culture was like, but I kept getting all of these bot invites for other Discords for other cryptocurrencies. So at one point, I just joined them all. And then he talks about his analysis of what he found, which is very sad. And for some people, depending on how much you would think it's kind of telling of who it is, but also kind of who you'd suspect would be there. And it was just very much a cutting kind of analysis of what's happened to cryptocurrencies and how NFTs are kind of there to justify cryptocurrencies, and even the safety strategies that people are trying to use to legitimize cryptocurrencies are just another way to try to sell cryptocurrency. It's
interesting.
And if you like a weird video essay YouTube thing like I do, which I do maybe way too often.
I do not.
Yeah, that's not Mystic's thing. He doesn't watch this with me. But it was a wild ride, and I kind of enjoyed it. Also, I was an econ major in college, so of course I kind of enjoyed it. So yeah. But that's kind of the media I've been enjoying recently.
Okay, cool. Stephanie, you're up.
Let's see. Slow down a little bit. So I am playing Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. It is a game that I used to have fond memories of going to my neighbor's house to play it because my parents hated video games. We could never beat it, so it's kind of like my life's calling at the current moment to beat Banjo-Kazooie. And I find everything still very endearing, but one thing that it makes me want to rage quit sometimes is I forgot how bad the camera angles are in
yes
so bad. Anytime I died, it's because I couldn't freaking see anything.
Yeah, exactly.
You and my boyfriend can teach a masterclass about that one thing right there, the bad camera.
I'm sure there's been plenty of college theses about camera angles in video games based on N64 games alone.
Oh God. Can we start with Super Mario 64?
Yeah, I'm having trouble with that right now. I forgot to mention that we actually have Buddy can actually move Mario around in Super Mario 64. Another reason we have to stop with screen time because he's getting a little too into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm working my way through Banjo, at least until Pokemon Arceus comes out on Friday. As a side note, I've stopped at the second generation of Pokemon. Like I'd played the red blue generation, then silver and gold. Then I stopped because even at my age at that time, I was like, dude, this is too much Pokemon. But because they really changed up the formula, I just at least had to just experience it. So, and then finally got a PlayStation 5. I just completely broke down and did not carry through with one of my New Year's resolution. And I transferred a couple of my save files over or whatever through the cloud, however that's done. And I'm still playing through Ghosts of Tsushima. That's what I've been playing.
All right. So, first of all, how dare they release a new Pokemon game the same day Uncharted Legacy, Uncharted Thieves Collection is coming out? Like, why am I flubbing that? I just talked about it last night on Crossroads. But how dare they release their first party game the same time a first party Sony game is coming out? How dare they?
How dare they? Those evil, fiendish, dastardly games.
I'm gonna get kicked off the
Publishers.
network. I've never played either of those franchises.
Oh, really?
Well, I've never had. Okay, so that's not entirely true. I have played a tiny bit of one of the Pokemon games. It wasn't for me at the time, and I just never went back to it. I've never owned a Sony console for more than a month.
Oh wow!
So
okay, you're disqualified from. I will say that.
Fair. No. Crossroads would not be Mystic's place at all. Yeah.
Well, what is your current gaming console?
Switch and PC.
Switch and PC. Okay. Oh, okay. You redeemed yourself with the PC. Well, I'm one of the PC gamers here for the Boss Rush proper. As a matter of fact, I get joked on all the time about the fact that even though I host the PlayStation show, I play all my PlayStation games on PC.
They look better on the PC is what I'll say.
Yeah. Oh, that is
slowly back away from the mic before somebody kills me.
That was another game actually. Horizon Zero Dawn. Since I'm playing that on PC, I just started that a little bit.
It's amazing, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna do a lore together on it eventually. I know. So.
Oh snap! I can't wait for that one. As far as me, this week, well, if you guys missed it, I finally like mounted my TV to the wall, so it's right there. It's right there. As a matter of fact, you can see the edge of it right here.
Oh
but
yeah!
It's mounted to the wall now, which means my PlayStation is back to being hooked up. Of course, the only thing I'm playing right now is Monster Hunter Rise on the PC. So again, my PlayStation is like, bro, what the fuck? But no. In all seriousness, the TV just got hooked up on Monday and stuff like that. So I just haven't had a chance, because I gotta redo all the cabling and stuff for the PlayStation and all that stuff. So yeah, the PS5 just hasn't had a chance to shine just yet. I got caught up on the Book of Boba Fett, so I'm caught up on all 4 episodes. I like the way the show's going. It's got a different pace than The Mandalorian, which is good, because I was afraid that it was going to do the exact same thing The Mandalorian was doing, and I'm kind of glad it's not. As a matter of fact, with the Book of Boba Fett, one thing I can say is that basically it talks about what happened to Boba basically after he freed himself from the Sarlacc pit, and just where he's at from where we saw him at the end of the last season of The Mandalorian, stuff like that. So it's building up its own lore to say. And I don't actually read a lot of the extended canon, like the actual comics and stuff for Star Wars. I've never been a big enough Star Wars nerd for that. But so I can't say for sure if they're actually incorporating stuff from the comics and the novelizations of the extended canon, or if they're going like a unique route and stuff like that. Because I've already heard some different things about how some things aren't going the way people expected, from like the hardcore fans, from back in the day.
Right.
But you know what? I kind of like that. which is one of the cool things I can say about like Star Trek for now, because I am a Trekkie. And yes, I'm also like I'm glad. I kind of hate that Discovery's on hiatus right now, but I'm loving the fact that Prodigy is filling its place right now. But but I do hear this little thing going around where people are also upset that it's not incorporating enough of the books, but they never said the books were canon. So like they're taking
Right.
license of some of that stuff as well. So and that's the same thing with like the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, but beyond that, I just started watching Cobra Kai. Like I
Mhm.
back when it was a YouTube Red series, I only saw the premiere episode. I only saw the pilot episode, and I kind of lost track of it, especially after Netflix picked it up. Because apparently the show was that good that Netflix snatched it up before the first season was even over. And
Ooh.
and so Cobra Kai, like I just accidentally watched like the back half of season 4, which is the current season, with my roommate and his girlfriend over one weekend, and I was like, okay, this show's actually pretty good. Maybe I should go back and see what else. Because I just remember when I originally saw the pilot, I was like, man, okay, like I get that as basically it's supposed to be following Johnny's character, but Daniel LaRusso isn't Daniel San. He's in it, of course, because they still live in the same town and stuff like that. But it was basically supposed to be like Johnny's redemption arc, and
Mm.
it's cool because it's like, man, Johnny's a fucking loser.
Oh man.
There's no nicer way to say it. Like, he's just a fucking loser. But like I do like one thing I will say is probably the reason why I didn't catch on to it when I first saw the premiere episode like 4 years ago is because like it was trying to cash in on like the whole Karate Kid franchise. And it was doing it a little campy and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, like I'm not in the headset for camp right now. So that's the main reason why I didn't latch on to it. But after watching like the back half of season 4 a couple of weekends ago, I was like, oh, this show is actually more serious than I gave it credit for. So I went back. So I finally started watching it from the beginning. And I'm like, yeah, now I remember why I stopped watching it, but I know where it's going. So I don't have a problem keeping with it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Cobra Kai is good, and I know this, like they're actually pulling from a lot of the at least from the 3 main movies. It'll be yet to be seen whether or not the Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan characters show up. Because the next Karate Kid was like a soft reboot. Actually, I'm not sure if it was a soft reboot or just a hard reboot because I don't think I don't remember mentioning Miyagi or anything like that. So who knows?
Mm.
Plus that it took place over in Japan, whereas Karate Kid was mainly in the United States, mainly.
Oh, okay.
Now, wasn't there a Karate Kid movie with a female lead? Like,
I don't remember.
I vaguely remember this.
Uh-huh.
I vaguely remember this.
Right,
yeah.
Wait.
I don't remember. If somebody wants to look that up, I mean, go for it because I don't remember that, and I feel like if that is a thing, I should see that because one thing's for sure, Cobra Kai is doing a wonderful job of bringing in everything from Karate Kids 1, 2, and 3. So yeah. So if there is like another Karate Kid movie out there,
It's the next Karate Kid.
Yeah, 1994. Yeah.
The next Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Wait, I did see that movie. Why don't I remember it?
What's her name's in it? Hilary Swank. She's the kid. It's getting trained.
That's right.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why am I not remembering this movie though? Like
She's rocking those bangs, man.
I know I've seen it.
I just remember the final fight. She's like blinded for part of it.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe they'll do something with it. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool.
I just vaguely remember that out of nowhere. Just
yeah, it's so weird because like Mystic, like with our friend groups, he'll get like riffed on for not watching enough like different TV and movie shows of our generation. Like he still hasn't watched any of the Ghostbuster movies. So.
Oh man. Oh God. Is this Corey's twin brother?
Maybe, who knows? But then like out of nowhere he'll have this like random little factoid or thing that you remember, like, wait a minute, you haven't even like watched any of the Marvel movies, but you know this? Like, what the hell? So
One of my friends goes, "Oh, you haven't seen this, you haven't seen this, but you've seen that movie."
right.
Like whatever, like some stupid, like really obscure. I think it was Pocket Ninjas.
Oh.
Okay. Never heard of it.
Pocket Ninjas is if you took 3 ninjas and made it terrible.
Isn't that like 80% of the ninja movies that ever happened?
Yeah. Well, their entire budget went to one explosion that you didn't actually see most of it.
Wow.
It's bad. It was on. I think I first saw it on Something Awful. Like,
oh, something awful.
we're going way back in internet history now.
Yeah.
Man.
I vaguely remember that.
Oh man.
All right, well, that's everything we've been playing, everything we've been checking out or watching or doing, so yes, I feel like we can go ahead and start breaking into our topic of discussion tonight. What say you guys?
Let's
I'm
do
done.
it.
Yeah, we can do
All
it.
right, well, Sapphy and Mystic, you are our guest tonight, so we will hand the floor over to you for whatever topic you want to talk about tonight.
So we have 2 different interpretations of the same topic.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's just how we are, apparently.
I'll let Sapphy go first.
So, like, I thought of this and I sent it to Mystic and I was like, hey, yeah, let's do this question, which was, what side quest storyline did you connect with the most in a video game? To which I'm thinking, like, connect with, like, oh, yeah, you can relate to it, possibly even, like, on a storytelling, like, empathetic, emotional level. And then Mystic, did you interpreted that differently?
I interpreted it as what side quest made you like very immersed in the world.
So we're gonna have I don't know. Should we start with one and then the other?
Well, I can preface my thought process on how I got that point.
Yeah.
Like, main quests are where you save the world. Side quests are where you understand the
You
world.
learn about the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
which makes sense. It's funny because it makes sense that we interpret it that way, because Mystic's always been more about the world building end of things, and I'm very much more about like the character development of things. So I'm really not surprised that our interpretations worked out that way. That kind of just makes sense.
Well, Stephanie, do you want to answer the question first?
Sure. Let me just give you the answer to how I initially interpret it, and then you guys can kind of maybe help me categorize it. So
sure.
I had a couple ones come to my mind, and I really wasn't sure. And then I settled with, I hope it's not a cop-out because I really do love the game. It Ghost of Tsushima. I know I didn't finish it yet. I got to be near the end of Act 1. I feel like I've been in Act 1 forever. However, I am just so drawn to the game because it's just graphically gorgeous, beautiful rendition of
Right.
Japan and of its time. Like, I think they do an excellent job, like historical fiction, all the the lore behind it and the life of a samurai and stuff. So one of I would call it a side quest that helps the main quest, I guess, is called, and I wrote notes here, so hope you don't mind if I go to my notes because I don't want to mess it up. A Mother's Story. So you play as Jin Sakai, who is a samurai that wants to rescue his I think he's a general, right? His uncle that got kidnapped by the Mongols. So the Mongols invaded Japan, and Jin needs to assemble some allies to help take down the Mongols, and one of them is Lady Masako from the Adachi clan. And a big part of this, one of the various side quests in the Masako storyline, is she's searching for her 2 sons that were missing, and she checked the beach where the big fight with the Mongols were. She wanted to give her sons a proper burial because her 2 sons were killed by the Mongols, and you help her search the beach. I think it's Komoda Beach. And it's pretty horrific the way the sons died and how their bodies were kind of desecrated and hung and stuff like that. So the mother, Masako, just wanted to just treat their bodies with dignity. She decides to bury them by the nearby lighthouse, because that's the lighthouse those two boys would go and play when they were children. You have to help her defeat the Mongols that had taken over that lighthouse. And then at the end, Jin still needs her help, but she goes, I just need some time to mourn. That's like the biggest side quest for that, but her story gets more complex. Like her entire family got like assassinated, killed, and
Oh,
she's
geez.
trying to
Wow.
find like the conspirators that when I think it has to do with like some complex family thing. And the reason why I'm starting to get vague is because I'm still working through it, right? So I don't know what the
Right.
deal is.
Yeah.
But the part with her sons, so like it hit me because I'm a mother. So
Mhm.
once you become a parent, there's certain storylines that just hit different.
Yes.
So in that part, like it's not relatable because not Mongols aren't invading our country. / my son is a lot, but it's the love of a parent and the
Mhm.
true sense of loss when you lose anybody for whatever reason, right? Doesn't have to be in a war. It could just be just losing anyone close to you. And but at the same time, I also appreciate it for its story because it does play into the main theme of Jin working alongside these characters to, helping them out, developing a bond so they will help you rescue his uncle, which also family member. So I just really love that side quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it could answer like both sides of the coin of our question too, because you've got the character development, you've connecting with this woman who specifically has this tragedy regarding her sons, and she's going through something like that you can like heart wrenchingly relate to maybe a little too closely. Especially like as a parent now, anytime there's a story mentions like, and then I lost my kid, I'm like, I don't know if I want to hear this story anymore. Like,
Yeah.
So I can understand that.
It's
Definitely.
kind of interesting because hearing about the quest that you just mentioned made me realize that there was a problem with my original statement that you don't learn things through the main quest, because it reminded me of the Bloody Baron quest from Witcher 3, which is a main quest. But the reason it reminded me was because that deals with a monster, demon, whatever, that exists because the father didn't name the child before they buried it.
Oh, I remember that quest. I
Oh.
remember that quest.
Yeah. But it's a main quest. So my conceit that the main quest doesn't teach you anything about the world or anything
Huh.
is inaccurate.
Right. Well, but I think the side quests do help you dig a little
Yeah.
deeper. So I think that's fair.
Well, I
But-
mean, I could always throw out there because this was like the second one that came to mind. I think it would definitely teach you more about the world, but not required to get you to the end of the story or the game. Is Majora's Mask, Cafe, his story. That's the one where he was cursed by Majora's Mask to turn into like a young boy, like or take on like the appearance of a child,
yeah.
even though he's an adult and
Yeah,
he's
I think I
engaged to be
remember that
married
one. Yeah.
to is it Anju? I think.
I'd have to look it up because
Thanks. That sounds familiar. It's been so long.
Yeah.
and
For whatever
I
reason-
watched
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying I didn't even play that one. I watched my brother play that one. Like when it came out, like for the next like 6 months on
Yeah.
N64, he just was like that was his Zelda game. Everybody else was on the Ocarina of Time kick, and he was seriously into Majora's Mask. So
But that name sounds familiar to me.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of an Ocarina of Time fan, but like that's if anything that makes me think of Majora's Mask, it's that side story, and you don't need to do that to beat the game, but you
Mhm.
have there's so many steps throughout the 3-day cycle that you travel throughout Termina and just see a lot of the towns. So like that is such a meaty side quest that if you were to do any one from that game, that's the one that'll give you most exposure to the world of Termina in Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, because I remember it's a lot of him being like, I don't want to be seen like this. But I have to do these things for my fiance. I have to at some points, I think it felt like he's pleading with Link, like, I really need this help. Like, there's no other way for me to do this. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's my honorable mention.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll go next. As far as okay, so this may not technically count because this is actual DLC, but because we were talking about Mass Effect earlier, I have to say like one of the best side quests for immersion had to be the Citadel DLC in Mass
Yeah.
Effect 3.
Yes.
One of the best ones. Because what's cool about this is the setup. So, spoiler for all you people who haven't played like what is at this point, what is it, like a 15-year-old gaming series now?
Right.
No, it can't be that long. No.
It's
2007 is when Mass Effect 1 came out.
Wow.
Mass
Oh.
Effect, and I think Mass Effect 3 bowed out at what, 2013?
Mystic
I
just
know
pulled out
2007,
like 3 more
2014.
gray hairs just now, like my youth is gone.
Okay, so not major spoilers there, but basically in the middle of the throes of like the war with the Reapers and stuff like that, basically Shepard and crew are ordered to take R&R.
Yes.
Back at the Citadel, and Admiral Anderson basically loans him the keys to the house and stuff, and like, here, like use my house, like you guys can relax, do whatever, and I won't tell you any of the meat and potatoes about the Citadel expansion itself, but the cool thing is, like, while you're playing the Citadel, you see a lot of the actual lore unfold from the Mass Effect greater part of the universe, like unfold before your eyes. Like you see the situation where the Quarians and the Geth, where the Quarians realize the Geth are gaining artificial sentience. Sentience. You see that. You
the archives.
Yep. You get to hear the accounts of Anderson while he was in the workups to becoming the first human Spectre. You also learn some other stuff. You also learn things about how the Solarians are actually remorseful for what they did to the Krogan and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot of like, and plus you get to play like some of the games that you just heard people talking shit about in Mass Effect 1 and 2. Like you get to play some of those virtual games that they were talking about and stuff like that. It's fun. It's fun, but it's definitely something I tell people. Well, before the Legendary Edition came out, because the Legendary Edition came out and gave you like over $200 worth of DLC that you would have had to pay if you bought the original trilogy on its own and stuff like that. And this is including the people who bought like the Mass Effect trilogy, the original trilogies when they bundled up before the Legendary Edition came out.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, I was like, you can skip all the DLC you want, but you should definitely play Citadel. If you don't want to play, was it Last Survivor, where you find Javik the Prothean? You don't have to do that. You should, right, but you don't have to do that. If you don't want to do Juggernaut, where you basically learn of the origin of the Reapers, you don't have to do that. But you should do that. but I tell you this right now, you have to play the Citadel DLC on Mass Effect 3. You have to play that.
Yes.
I totally agree, yeah.
Besides the fact, like I said, hilarity ensues in that I feel like
it's a really good final package for that. Yeah.
I also feel like the Citadel DLC, basically, it could have been its own like separate Mass Effect game. It had its own plot going on in the game, and I was like, "Holy fuck!" They could have made a whole game with this shit.
Yeah,
I think is that DLC part of the Legendary Edition?
Yes. You get all the DLC with the exception of one. I think it's Bring Down the Sky because
Pinnacle Station
because they lost the source code for that,
and we didn't lose anything out of it.
Yeah, we really didn't.
All you get you just get an apartment and like a firing range. That's all you get.
Oh, that's
right. And I think BioWare compensates you for the fact that was missing. I think they did. I can't remember for sure.
Well, I feel like also part of the reason the Citadel DLC had to be like with every package ever since then is because of the fact it was almost the apology from BioWare being like, we're really sorry that we totally messed up the end game.
We messed up your ending, guys. We're sorry.
Yeah.
I hated the ending when it first came out. I'm not going to get into why or any details because obviously one of us has not played it. But when they included the DLC that you mentioned, what was it? The one where they explain the origins of the big
Juggernaut,
bags. Like that made the ending make more sense.
Yes.
Like it fleshed it out more, and
Wait,
I
is
wasn't
that
as
Juggernaut or
angry
is that
about
Leviathan?
it. I think it's Leviathan.
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 Okay.
There you go. I said Juggernaut. It's Leviathan.
Yeah. Okay.
Now
Yeah.
the reason why I named all these is because I wanted to steer Stephanie towards making sure she played all of them. That's the only reason why I named them all. I didn't have to name them all, you know.
The decision's
No,
been
definitely.
made. I'm almost there.
Okay. Well, you'll have to let us know what you think of it as you're going through it, because
For real.
it is
For real.
And then
so
listen to our
good.
podcast on the and
Exactly.
I'm going to listen to y'all. It might be what I do tonight before I think about going to bed. I might start it.
There you go.
Yeah, but for real, like the Citadel DLC, I feel like that is one of the as far as the Mass Effect trilogy is concerned, like is the best one for immersion, and that's crazy because like I feel like Mass Effect Andromeda itself also did a lot for immersion. You know,
They did.
into the canon of the series. You know,
there were just balls dropped in other parts of the production.
Yeah,
so.
true.
Still a very good game, and I love the soundtrack for it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you go next.
So
yeah.
I'll see your question. I'll leave you to close it out.
Okay, sure. Well, yeah.
So when we mentioned side quests, my brain immediately went to Skyrim. You know, full of side quests that flesh out the world and everything. And two came to mind. One of which is silly, but kind of explains one of the Daedra very well, which is Sanguine's quest. It's I think it's called The Night with Sam or something. And basically you get drunk with a guy at a bar. You wake up in a temple across the world, potentially.
Yes, I remember this one.
And you spend the whole quest trying to figure out what you did on this drunken night, which included kidnapping a goat, selling it to a giant, getting married to a hag raven. Like,
yes,
awesome.
She literally comes out and she goes, "We still haven't consummated our marriage."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, jeez, what did I do?"
That's awesome.
You were with the hussy Esmeralda with the black feathers. Yeah, it's
so bad.
And the other one is because the other one is the quest line that deals with Potema, which starts in a place you go to the Blue Palace, which is in the capital of Skyrim. You are given a throwaway mission. Literally, there's a farmer at the court being like, "We've heard noises. Can you send someone out?" And the Jarl is like, "We'll send a detachment." And the guy's like, "No." Her steward is like, "We don't have to send a whole detachment. I'll find someone to do this." He tells you, "Just go check it out. It's probably wolves. It's probably nothing. Just go check it out." You go check it out, and the first thing you see once you enter the cave proper is like this giant glowing figure and like these giant glowing tendrils. And my first thought was, yeah, just some wolves. It turns out to be a necromantic queen from Skyrim's past, like this ritual that you're interrupting. It gets crazy, but it's one of my favorite side quests because of just that first time I played it. I was like, "Oh, just some wolves." That'd be what?
That reminds me of Red Dead Redemption 2 when you're on a side quest and you're out in the middle of the woods and you actually run across like a clan meeting.
Oh God!
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember looking up various long plays on YouTube just to see what different people did, man. Like people got creative with like fucking up the KKK out in the middle of the woods.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. It's kind of like, here, we've put in like some of the worst people you could ever deal with. Please have fun. Like just do what you want with these horrible, fictional, horrible people.
Okay, so that's a series I haven't played yet, so I have to get into that.
Red Dead? Yeah, I'm not a stoic person on it either. Like, as a matter of fact, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the only one I've even messed with. I never played the because there's two other Red Dead games, if I'm not mistaken.
Red Dead Revolver and then Red Dead, right?
Yeah. Red Dead and then Red Dead Redemption, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played the first two. I only played Red Dead Redemption 2 just because I came into the series late. But I love Red Dead 2 because I just feel like, okay, so it's not the exact same thing as Ghost of Tsushima, but it's like historical fiction. But let me draw the parallels. It's historical fiction, obviously completely different era, completely different culture. But it's like you got your main mission, but then you got a bunch of side missions, and it's relatively open world, and you stumble upon like random things and interactions. So like, I don't know, that's why I draw this very strange parallel there, but I miss Red Dead 2. I'll have to get back to that. Go back.
I'm gonna have to get that on Steam. I think it's on Steam. Pretty sure it's on Steam.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, all right, I'm going to have to keep an eye on Mystic's Steam wishlist then. For sure.
I mean, there's a bunch. I have Stanley Parable Deluxe Edition on there.
That's
which is,
right. That's coming out too.
Speaking of
So
weird games.
speaking of weird games. Well, I guess Mystic, if you're done, like
I'm done.
Yeah.
Because my thing was these built the world or made me feel immersed in the world and like I was actually there because my reaction was visceral. So that's what I took from what something you connected with, whereas you were talking like connect with a character or connect with the story. Well, I was like, I'm here for world building.
I can see how both can be interpreted that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, the other one that was on my list was actually the murder that you solve in Windhelm, because my brain brain went to the Elder Scrolls series because it's just the one where I've played the most and have played more side quests than any other game because I played Skyrim the most. I mean, I played Oblivion, but I don't remember any of the side quests except for Hack Dirt, which is good, but I don't remember anything beyond the fact that it was weird culty thing. Like,
yeah, you're in a cult. Call your dad. Yeah.
No, you're not in a cult. You're breaking up a cult.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're sent there to rescue somebody, and it turns out there's like a cult worshiping the old ones or something. I don't know. It was weird.
That's not as good as the orphanage who called for the Assassin's Guild to murder.
Okay, that's also a good quest.
That's that. I think I remember when you first stumbled upon it. You're like, Sapphy, you have to see this. So good.
Here's a child doing a ritual to summon a person to kill someone.
They were just so ecstatic that you murdered her. It was fantastic.
Krillit's dead. Yeah. Yay! Arturo did it. Yay!
So bizarre. So bizarre. Okay.
Your turn.
So when I was thinking about this, connecting with it, like for me, again, I'm very much about like really like touching and like for me, at least for me, kind of like deep character moments. And even though, first of all, I had to get my Dragon Age fangirl on because that is my fantasy series. And for me, there's the story. It's in Dragon Age 2, actually, which I wouldn't even say is my favorite of the three. I think my favorite's Inquisition. But this story in particular, like of all the flaws that Dragon Age 2 has, this was a really like well done quest. And it's this quest involving... It's actually a quest you can follow throughout the years of this mage who's an apostate called like Fenriel, who's half elf, half human, which they kind of do some wonky things with like, you know, the canon with it where he, you know, technically when an elf has a child with a human in that world, they look almost entirely human. And they kind of just messed up the character design. So look past that, you know, because developers mess up their own canon all the time. And it's this story of like a mother who's a single mother on her own trying to help her son bridge his understanding of himself. And when you get to like the, you know, the Act 1 part of the game, it's about, oh my gosh, he's a mage and he's kind of powerful, so I tried to get him help, and it turns out the help was actually accidentally getting him sold to slavers. And and so
that's enough to break your brain as a parent.
So you know, I haven't played Dragon Age 2 since I've become a parent, you know, but I've always been kind of like a sensitive, feely person anyway, so this is already like, oh my gosh, I have to do this right away. So you can save him, but he also is this apostate. And in the Dragon Age universe, if you're a mage and if you're in a world with a certain faith system, you have to be either registered or you're an apostate and you're at risk of like, even if you're a mage in the circle and registered, like essentially
Registered and locked up.
Locked up and monitored for the rest of your life.
Wow.
You still even risk like having basically be given like a magical lobotomy because you're considered too dangerous. It's like,
Wow.
it's
Nice.
it's an intense. They very much purposely made a dark fantasy. Like they made sure like we're not high fantasy, we're dark fantasy. People die, there's blood, things are deep. Like that's Dragon Age. Like they went in full blast with that, and like this is one of the plots that has that. So you can, and of course because it's BioWare, you can choose to be an evil douche nozzle about it, or you can be not. You know, and if you're not, you can encourage Fenrir to be like, look, you've been in the problem is his elves are kind of the oppressed minority in the game. I will not compare to any other minority. As a woman of minority heritage myself, that is just problematic as hell. But
Yeah.
they do a very well developed, like unique take on like elves being a minority group in a human based society, and essentially he's raised in their version, the elf alienage, which is their version of essentially the separated community for just elves. And you know, he's raised there because they were actually supposed to be part of like the native Dalish elf culture, which are basically roaming clans of elves who try to hold on to what the knowledge of their ancestors as desperately as they can, even though human society is kind of pulled a colonialism, almost kind of pulled an occupier power and like took it away. And Fenrir's mom, you know, had to abandon that culture because of her child not being full elf. And it turns out because of his magic properties, it's a way to get him to get back and tie into his elf culture again. And so when you
I think I vaguely remember this now.
Yeah, and you can encourage him to go back and be like, look, they have their own mage traditions, which are different than the circle. Reach out to them and they should help you. And if you encourage that, then in Act 2 of the game, it comes back that since you're this trusted person, you have to help him, because it turns out he has he's got a really special power that involves basically he can manipulate the world through dreams. That's the easiest way to put it. If you know Dragon Age, if you know the Dragon Age series, I'm simplifying the explanation, but that's the easiest way to put it. And essentially he's trapped in a nightmare because a demon's trying to take over his body to take his power.
Wow.
And it's this interesting moment in a story because there is an option for you for him to reconsider, like, the Dalish can't help me because I am so powerful. Humans will want to essentially, you know, lobotomize me. But there is this other culture that, even though everybody around here thinks is an evil influence, is so pro mage, they actually have training for somebody as powerful as me. I should go there. And you can encourage him as Hawk, the main character, to be like, yeah, do it. And then if you do in like Act 3, there's a side quest where it turns out you go to save this woman that you think that's been kidnapped. And when you go, all the bad guys are dead. And she goes, yeah, I heard them plotting to basically do horrible things to me against my will. And then suddenly they all killed each other. And it turns out it's this mage. This mage, like, basically figured out what's happening, decided to do a superpower thing, and made them all kill each other because they were all bad guys. And she's like, well, now I'm in love with this mage. Like, I have to find him now. It's this crazy thing. And you know, now that I've explained the crazy plot, the reason I connected with it is like, and it might be because like I am of, you know, multiracial heritage. Like, I like to explain it. I'm a black woman with white passing privilege. You can't tell right now because I'm not on camera, but just trust. I'm sorry. And like this throughout my life, I've really connected with the idea of like identity and trying to figure out who you are when you have more than one quote unquote culture. Like, you're not like a monoculture raised person.
Yeah.
And And the thing I like about this story in particular, and I connected with it not only because the lore is just banging, but the this character goes to, well, humans don't like me, maybe the elves will like, well, elves like can't work with me, what should I do? And basically has to find his third way, which is his way. It's like, it's not about, you know, having to connect to one or the other to a certain extent. And in that Act 2 thing, you can see that there's a struggle. There's like the demons that are trying to toy with his mind, like one's trying to have him connect more with his human heritage and the father he never knew, and the other one is toying with like his need to be redeemed, to be part of his elven lineage and like the ancestral powers of the mages before him. And finally, his solution is, neither one of these are me. I need to go someplace else because I am uniquely who I am, and I need to go somewhere. And that really spoke to me. And you don't have to do it. It's not necessary to any of the plot. It kind of builds onto the themes that are there, but it's one of the few like mage-based plot themes that's not like, oh, try your best to not be evil because, you know, blood magic is evil. Oh no, you used blood magic because you were desperate. Like every other side mage plot is like not as well developed, and this one was like really, actually, I felt trying to tell a person's journey about themselves and trying to figure out who they are and succeeding, including being able to murder, you know, kidnappers and assaulters in their sleep. Like it was great. That was the one that came to me first thing when I was thinking about this.
I feel like my answer to this question is now inadequate.
Yeah, for real.
Don't. I don't want anyone to feel inadequate.
In your defense, in our defense, you're also the one who came up with the question.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
So she understood the assignment.
I made the assignment, so the game was rigged from the start.
No, that was a good topic. I love when video games give you like something to make you nostalgic, you know, after it's said and done. I love that. You know, games have a nostalgia factor, but when a game actually goes out of their way to make sure that you do not forget it, that is the magic.
Right.
For sure.
All right. That was a great topic.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, I
Thanks for indulging us. Yeah,
you guys are already superstars as far as I'm concerned.
I need to think about side quests differently.
like,
yeah. Now you're like, man, like I thought I played video games.
I
played video games. Apparently, I don't connect with them to a degree that Sapphy does.
I'm such a thinky person. Like Celeste brought this up. She goes like, "Were you an English major?" And I was like, "No, but I was a drama major in college," and it's kind of the same, like thinky connecting of like human experience with art and text and analyzing it in that way.
Meanwhile, I was visual arts, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're just so you were just there to make pretty things, is what you're trying to say right now, right, Mystic?
Yeah.
Okay. It's different.
Yeah. Ooh, look, shiny. It's like, let's rock on Skyrim. Look at that awesome scenery. Yeah.
Well, you know how men are wired for visual.
I mean, okay, I'm not going to argue that, and I didn't do the research. I don't
know. All right. Who wants to go? Well, let's see. Who wants to go next for a topic? Stephanie, you got a good one for us?
I mean, I got a small quickie. We can run through that.
Okay.
You know, in honor of having Lore be together with us. Oh, sorry, I'm getting tired. I didn't have my Monster Energy drink like I normally do on my Wednesday nights.
I noticed that. Where was the can of Monster?
I don't know. Anyway, what kind of lore or mythos do you want to see more of? And I thought about that because recently the game Aztec Forgotten Gods finally got a launch date for the Switch. And Aztec Forgotten Gods, as you can probably deduce from the title, is that they kind of go into like actual Aztec lore. Obviously, it's part sci-fi and all the other embellishments that a video game has, but I love it when they explore various culture and mythology that's maybe not so commonplace. Like there's a ton of games with Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, Norse mythology. I think those are like kind of the three big ones. But when I saw the release date for Aztec, and also probably like a couple months ago, I played and reviewed Roki, which went into Scandinavian folklore. I'm like, you know what? There are some, and I love them. I wish there were more games that you know, took a peek into other lesser known lore. So, is there a culture or a mythology that you'd like to see more of represented in games? I can start if you guys want time to think.
Yeah, I think time think would be good.
Yeah, so I am a writer on the set. Well, and I not only write for Boss Rush, but I write, books and stuff. And I like to have a lot of research material on me because I used to write also short stories in anthologies with some authors around the world. And we used to do various retellings based off of folklore and stuff like that. So I would just spend my time at Barnes and Nobles, buy some books, and I have based on culture. And what I want to see a video game go into Native American lore. Like it's very uncommon. Like when I'm reading through it, like I'm not familiar with any of this. I wouldn't even know how they'd want to interpret it, but like I think that would be fantastic to have a video game revolve around that or something along those lines. And I think the other one would have so Native American, but also like Hindu Indian, because I know there's a game called Raji that is, I think it's an indie game, the indie developer in the game Raji, but I bought it. I think it's on my PlayStation account, but I haven't played it yet. But I bought it immediately because I'm like, I love it. So I just wish there'd be more games based off of that culture, and they're polytheistic, so there could be like several gods that they could maybe associate, or just anything like that. So like just like it's a big treasure trove of content people could use and learn about. So those two, I want to see more of those two.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm still thinking.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sapphy had to run off. Little buddy sounds like he's teething. But it's interesting you mention other cultures and stuff for like as influence for a setting, because I remember going to writing symposiums and stuff when I was at Gen Con, and there was a talk about how you can do fantasy that's not the boring stuff we've already done. And it is true. Like there's so many different fantasy or mythologies that we haven't delved into. And I would like to see somebody dive into either actual African history, where we go into the kingdoms of Africa or something, or the mythologies of Africa that people don't talk about, because we only really talk about like Egypt, know. So maybe going into more of that. Also, I think that there is, I'm kind of sick of elves always being magically superior. I want that to be something that goes away. I want the Tolkien archetypes to dissolve a little bit. I think they're all in gaming a little too much. That's where my brain goes right now. Unfortunately, I'm distracted by hearing Buddy crying. So
no, okay. I got you.
I'll do a little bit more thinking.
Paternal instincts are kicking in, but I think that those are great points. Like as much as I love the Tolkien archetypes, I mean, you see very similar things in the whole D&D universe too. But it'd be nice if there was either a spin or a quote unquote new entity or something like that. And absolutely like African culture, because you're right. Like if you're just looking at the continent, it's just Egyptian and the Egyptian mythology, which, don't get me wrong, they're interesting, but like that one I just see so dang much. I'm
good. Yeah, for real. All right, so no pressure, because everybody had really good answers just now. Okay, so I don't know how to follow up Native American nor African lore. Honestly, I don't know how to follow that up. So what I will say is I think we need to look at other periods of time that haven't been like quite discussed. Like we know some things about it, but we don't know enough. Like like old world lore, for example. Like, but I feel like old world lore like typically particularly runs the risk of pissing off like the church,
Mm.
Right.
because because I look at it like this, like in Bible study, like when I used to go to church, like I feel like I got a lot more. I feel like I got more of I got more fulfillment from going to Bible study or Sunday school than I actually did from actually hearing the sermons and the and like the pastor, the preachers and stuff, just doing their thing, every week. Um, I'm also one of those people that have that my brain is wired scientifically, so I have questions. Like I would really love to know like what all went on with like the Great Flood, the 40 days to 40 nights, or Babylon. you know, like I feel like we need to actually start having more accurate depictions of what went on. If we're actually gonna use like events of the Bible to like mold and dictate our world history, like we need to learn more about like the actual specifics and stuff like that. I mean, hell, like we're doing stuff as far back as the Paleotonic era, with dinosaurs and stuff. Why stop there?
Yeah.
Why go back that far, but don't talk about like stuff in between that and now, things like that.
That's a
But
really
like I
good
said,
point.
I feel like the big battle here is battling the clergy because as more and more that information comes out, like more and more like it's going to want to either be suppressed or it's going to be want to or it's going to want to be disseminated, so slowly that people still won't get the actual fulfillment of learning about it.
It's actually interesting. You just sparked in my brain a comment that I could make also of I'm kind of, speaking of all this history that we have that we don't actually go into. We also don't go into, like, you mentioned your brain was wired scientifically, and that jogged my brain, being like, we don't actually go into, like, gaming has a lot of ripe ground to be more educational without being lame edutainment.
Yes.
And I feel that is some fertile ground that we should maybe be fostering as as an industry, and I don't think we do. I think everything is kind of very Hollywoodized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everything's big set pieces and everything, and maybe I know I like indie games that kind of take that step back and kind of look at things in a way that the big AAAs never do. And I'm wondering if maybe some games we haven't heard of, because I'm always looking for indie games for Lore Together to dive into, and now I'm curious to see if there are any that have covered these mythologies that we've talked about or these eras that we've talked about that we just aren't on our radar because they're 200 people have played the game total.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we definitely want to rely on those indie developers and publishers, and because indie games have become more popular, so to speak, in the last few years, I'm hoping that's where they'll trend. This is why, like, I see games like Roki and Aztec, and I want to be able to play them and review them and kind of put them in the spotlight at Boss Rush, for example, so people know like there are these incredible games where you're right, it's not edutainment. Like, those are both fictional games, kind of crazy, fun, wonky, but I still learned a hell of a lot. Like, I learned all about these like gods and Scandinavian culture that I would have never ever learned, and it was a fun way to learn about it. Like, I actually went out of my way to like Google and research about it after I was done playing the game.
I think part of the problem is as a culture, especially in the modern day, we say something is based off of something historical or something mythological, and then we have to make it cooler.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. What is up with yeah, like there's got to be, if there's no entertainment factor in it, like they automatically think no one's gonna be about it.
Well, like God of War is definitely a franchise based off steeped in mythology
Yep.
that is then made cooler and made more big set pieces, more Hollywoodization to it. And yeah, it's a great franchise, but there could have been, I don't know, a little bit more nuance to it than just hack and slash for the most part. Although I haven't played the most recent one.
Makes total sense.
Yeah. Yep. I guess Sapphy's still dealing with little buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, depending on when she gets back, we might follow up with her and see where her head's at on that topic. I have a topic, and I think honestly, it's funny because it seems like the topics that you guys brought to the table tonight are kind of paralleling what I was going with, but I still have a backup topic just in case it's like you scooped my story. Okay, so all right, so recently I watched Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, and
Okay.
I think a lot of people already know that movie basically it didn't set out to do what it wanted to do, and that's me being nice. Because basically, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City made the original 6 Resident Evil movies look like masterpieces. If I'm being honest.
Oh wow.
I mean, half of that was Mila Jovovich, but
Yeah, exactly. All right, so my question, my topic tonight is what video game? We got the upcoming Uncharted movie coming out with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. So, what video game franchise do you think may absolutely finally have a shot at being accurate to the game but still being entertaining? So what?
one
So
what
let me rephrase it better. What's a video game franchise that you think they could actually that you think could actually come out in movie format or even a television series, like, because we got upcoming Last of Us TV series coming out on HBO, and there's another TV series based off video game, but I'm forgetting what it is. But what's one that you think could actually be a viable like crossover into the movie or television media and actually work and not piss off fans at the same time? I could just default and say Mass Effect, but
Mass Effect was gonna be one of my answers. I would also say, and this is probably more hopeful on my part than anything, but I really want that Myst TV series to finally be made that they've been doing for 30 years.
I vaguely remember that.
P.S. I'm back, and I heard that. I will second the Mass Effect answer right there.
What about a Dragon Age? Oh no, they did a Dragon Age movie. It didn't go well, did it?
I don't think it. Well, it was like a side.
Wait, they did a Mass Effect movie. It was Paragon Lost, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was an animated movie, which wasn't bad. It talked about James Vega.
Oh, okay.
Who is a very underappreciated character, I feel.
Yes.
Do you really feel that way?
I do actually, yeah. I think people thought that he was just a
meathead.
A meathead, and he definitely is not. I think he just has muscles and.
Oh, he has soul. I will say that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why they picked the acting they did for female Shepard for that, because it always sounds very flirtatious when it's meant to be like a mentorship type thing.
Yeah.
So, when I think of all the current games like that we've just discussed, Red Dead 2, Ghost of Tsushima, which I think they are working on something for Ghost of Tsushima. And I think all of them would make some semblance of a good series or movie. But I feel like it might run into a similar issue if not done correctly with what I'm possibly fearful of The Last of Us is games like that, they're very cinematic anyway. There's a ton of cutscenes.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
if you put all the cutscenes together, you kind of already have a movie. So you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my most basic knee-jerk reaction that if anyone knows anything about me would be able to predict my answer, but something Legend of Zelda based.
I knew it.
Yes.
But
Now, are we talking like the Rainmaker trailer that they did for IGN way back in 2008?
no, not necessarily. Now, here's my thing. Like, I know, first of all, it's never going to happen. I just know Nintendo won't do it. But because there's this uncertainty about the fact that Link is Link for a reason, he does not speak, right? I would be fine because Legend of Zelda is a very precious franchise that they don't want to ruin. Have a movie or series that's not focused on Link necessarily. Like maybe focus on the last
Yeah.
Sheikah and then end the movie or series that
Yeah.
kind of pulls Link into it. Or even like just Zelda herself. You know what I'm saying? So like I think Legend of
Right.
Zelda itself would be a great premise because that game, aside from Breath of the Wild, did not have a crap ton of cutscenes, so people would have a lot of creative liberty. But also you have to do it the right way, right? Like keep Link voiceless so they can maintain that thing that Zelda has and do some, do a spin-off, so to speak.
Mhm.
That's actually a good point. Like,
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it is to do a movie that's about the universe, but not about the game itself.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what? That might be honestly. You know what? That might be the way to do any video game movie that you don't want to run the risk of ruining the franchise. Do it based off the lore. You know what? I'm glad. I'm glad Lore Together is with us tonight because like
Mhm.
it helps me solve a simple problem. Prequels don't always do it. Like when we look at the original 6 Resident Evil movies, like obviously side stories don't do it either for some strange reason.
Right.
Maybe what you need to do is need to look at the lore to where it doesn't affect where it's not actually pulling from the main series canon. And when I say the main series canon, I'm like like Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was basically Resident Evil's 1 and 2, the games, put into a movie, which was already a
Right.
horrible idea when you consider that the games are 3 or 4 months apart from each other. That was already a horrible idea. Like, I mean, you didn't even need to be like a gamer to know that was a bad idea.
Right.
You could do 0 and 1. Those are
0 and 1
Yes.
went concurrently, and you know what? I don't want to really bitch and rant about the game, but why the hell wasn't there no Billy Cohen and Rebecca Chambers in the game? In the movie, I mean.
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't even thought of that.
yeah.
Nah, but they want to waste their fucking time making Wesker seem like a fucking college bro,
That's right.
And somehow Jill's in love with him.
Ooh.
That's right. I remember that. So thinking about this, I just got like an idea of like, you get a movie and it turns out you're like in a London like 1300 or something, and it turns out you you're with this guy who's got an average like I dump poop buckets for my living kind of life. And suddenly
I dumped my lord's chamber pot.
and suddenly he stumbles upon something, and it turns out there's a secret organization. And then he stumbles upon something, and then we as the audience know it's something closer to modern tech that shouldn't be in London 1300s. Da-da-da. And then you get to the end, and it reveals itself. Guys, this was an Assassin's Creed movie the entire time. You could do something like that. It would have mass appeal to everybody.
Did you have to do the poop buckets, though?
No, we can edit the poop buckets to be something else. Could be, some other Page Squire type job thing going on there. But you know what? I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Like, you could do that, or you can also do something similar with like the Hitman series. Of course, it's all the assassin ones where there's a lot of subterfuge and like secret organizations. But I feel like you could do that where you have like this other like main character moment somewhere else in the same world, who interacts with the same stuff, and then it's not until you get to like the midpoint or like to the third act of the movie you're like, oh my gosh, it's a video game reference. We fooled the normies.
Speaking of which, I'm wondering what you mentioned that there were video game TV series. I don't know. I didn't hear if you mentioned the Halo one that's coming out.
Yeah, I didn't. Actually, and that one's not supposed to pull directly from the main.
Yeah, that looked interesting.
Yeah.
Based on the little we saw so far.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that one because like we saw like a split second of a teaser and then that was it.
Yeah. But
what might make a good movie and or series, BioShock.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yes. You
would
could.
have, so you could do BioShock like before the fall of Rapture,
Escape from Rapture.
Yes.
That's what you want to do. Something like
like
that.
as the Rapture's collapsing, how the
Yes.
people who weren't became splicers, how they got out.
Like you make it like a tragedy similar
It would
to
be a miniseries, a 6-part miniseries, starting with Andrew Ryan building Rapture in the first
Yeah.
episode.
See, I think a lot of these video game scenarios would be beneficial as a mini TV series. I think some people just automatically think it has to be a movie.
It has to be a movie.
Right.
And no, because then it's like a 3-hour movie that still is full of crammed garbage. Just no.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just think of like a Legend of Zelda miniseries where you have a whole thing, like it's a 6-part series. You have a whole episode at Lon Lon Ranch. Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
you have a whole episode that deals with Death Mountain. Like you travel around the world.
You could have like a whole series based on the people that go to the stables that are in.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know. I could see it being a sitcom, 30-minute episodes.
Who put the duck in the statue? That's one.
The secret of the cuckoo's insane ability to kill you.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to know who was the first sick motherfucker that decided they're just gonna like attack a chicken. Let's find that out.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't survive, so
There you go. Oh man.
Oh man.
That's true though. I agree that like miniseries are like
you could do Koholint Island, and it turns out everything was a dream, just like the game.
Ooh.
That might.
Ooh. That's punching people in the gut right there.
right. Right.
That makes a good game, unless you're Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd make a terrible TV show. Technically, isn't that what Lost was about?
I was just talking to a friend today about Lost, about how
that was going to be actually surprising. Like Lost would tangentially be like one of my topics before you came up with yours. Was like, what's the best Easter eggs you've seen in games?
Oh,
and the Lost one from Just Cause would be probably the one that I would bring up because there's an island you can go to in Just Cause 2 that as you approach it, your whatever you're on just blows up. And if you're lucky, you'll land on the thing. And there's the hatch, and there's the numbers in the sand and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus
my
Christ.
gosh,
I did
just
not know about
torturing everybody. That's hilarious. It's funny because I was just talking to a friend about Lost, and I remember because so my mother was trying to get into it like when it was like season 4, and she's like, okay, people like this, let me try it out. And she got to like the episode 4 where you realize John Locke was not supposed to be able to walk originally. Sorry, spoilers for how old of a show. And she got to that point, and she literally she was watching it, and she just turns to me and she goes, Sapphy, are they really just going to tell me straight out that everybody's dead right now? Like, is that what they're going to do? She never watched it past that point, and I think her life is better for it for her. At least,
And this is still related to our general thing of video games because there was a Lost video game apparently.
There was?
There was?
Yeah, Lost Via Domus. It was on iOS, Microsoft Windows, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and DS.
Wow. Look this up. But it's funny because since we're bringing all this up, it's funny when I was, I don't know, I didn't take like formal writing classes, but I was always told you will piss off your readers if at the end you said this whole thing was a dream. Like you never do.
Yes.
Like you don't do that.
You don't do that. You don't do that. You definitely don't have the person narrating be the person that died.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, like Final Fantasy X.
Yeah. Yeah. But yet and still, Final Fantasy X is one of the greatest Final Fantasy games.
That's true.
The PlayStation 2 era.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely.
I never actually beat it. I can play it.
I never beat it either, and the sad part is I own it on 3 different consoles.
I own the new one on, or the remake, not the remake, the upscale version on PC because we needed it for our stream. But I had it on PS2. I got like 40 or 50 hours in. I was playing with my friend when we were in college, and then the damn memory card got corrupted.
That sounds like me in Final Fantasy VIII.
Mommy duty calls. I gotta go again. Ah!
Oh wow, he is.
Oh man,
he's teething again. Jeez.
Not a fun time. Poor kid.
Yeah.
No. And he only likes to teeth with Sapphy. If I grab him, he fights.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. I'm not comforting enough, apparently.
So I'm just looking at images of this lost video game.
It looks like the CSI video games at first glance.
Yeah.
Which I played a lot of.
I'm glad you mentioned that. It really does.
Cheap cash in, one a year, you know. We brought in the actress from the show to read lines and phone it in. So that'd be my guess.
All right. Well, I learned something new every day.
Cheap games. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? This might be a good time to wrap.
Yeah.
We have to wait for Sapphy to get back then.
Oh yeah. We do. So you know what? All right. So Mystic, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let us and our audience know, like, what was one of your favorite episodes of your podcast to do?
Oh, I'm going to think for a second here. Let me actually bring up the full list because my brain is going to go to something recent, and I don't want to do a disservice to our earlier stuff. My brain is already going towards Skies of Arcadia, but that's just because it's one of my favorite games.
Skies of Arcadia was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, while you're looking through that, what I will say is I did enjoy, not to be cliche, like all the Myst related stuff in the beginning because I started Myst on the PC when I was a kid. I was too dumb to get past like a fraction of it. But I really was desperate to know the secrets of the island and what the hell was going on. And so I'm like, oh, this guy really knows his stuff. I mean, he is called Mystic, but so I got to tell you, like, I really enjoyed those ones.
So the funny thing is, like, I like that I come across as knowing my stuff. I get so many notes from the Myst fans every single episode we do on Myst.
Oh, wow.
And it's not that I'm getting stuff wrong. It's that there's like one lines in books that I haven't gotten to yet. Because there's 3 books. I've only read one of them. And so there's 2 books I haven't read yet that go into deeper lore. And they'll say, like, oh, no, this is contradicted here. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that. Like, but yeah, no, I try. We get notes on everything, usually pronunciation. Our first episode, we got notes on how we pronounce Spokane wrong.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Because we pronounce it Spokane.
Wait, I was pronouncing it Spokane. It's not.
Yeah, it's Spokane.
Okay.
We got numerous notes on that one. But looking at our whole thing, I think probably one of my favorite episodes, and it's an early one, and it's not because of the game or the lore, but it was Hellblade.
Oh.
And it was one of the first times that the lore actually made Sapphy tear up. Like,
really?
it hit an emotional chord. And I think I edited a bunch of it out, but that game was the first time that we kind of knew we had something that was actually going to be kind of good. Like, they say you have to get past 10 episodes to have a successful podcast, and that was that was episode 8. Was it 8 or 9, something like that? And so it's like right at that point we're like, okay, we can actually keep doing this. We can actually make this interesting and make it emotional, because the first 6 episodes were Myst, and then Elder Scrolls for 4 episodes, which you notice we haven't done 4 back-to-back episodes on a thing again.
Oh.
So. Now, Hellblade is yet another game that's on my backlog. and I want to play it before the second one comes out. If I listen to that episode, will it be spoilers or is it just background lore?
That one is the full story. I would not play that until you were done with the game.
Okay.
Because it does kind of spoil the ending.
All right. I'll be sure to do that first. But, I have to back up what Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Sapphy tends to do deep dives into a character or a specific thing in a universe because she's doing Dragon Age, she's doing Fallout, all these things. I'm doing Elder Scrolls where I kind of still cooling my heels off of playing 4 episodes back to back of Elder Scrolls. Mm-hmm. But I tend to do single games. We'll run through the whole story. So my stuff tends to be a lot more spoilery because here's the entire story of the game. And she tends to be, here's the story of this character.
Mm-hmm. I see.
That said, I'm going to try to probably break that up a little bit going forward.
I hear you on that.
Nice. Are you able to kind of give us a high-level roadmap or maybe stuff that you would like to do but not set in stone? Like, I don't want you to give away the future episodes necessarily and spoil that, but
we want to do rotating big franchises so that those come more regularly going forward. I do want to revisit a bunch of stuff. We want to start doing like we started doing for our streams as well. We started like sitting down with a game for multiple sessions. Like Sapphy just beat Abduction. Now she's playing through Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I keep wanting to call it Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, but it's British, so it's Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. And after she's done with that, I'll probably be playing through Skies of Arcadia. So we're starting to go into more streaming, so we have more of that video presence as well.
Okay.
In terms of big stuff, for our patrons, we're planning on doing more mini episodes and everything, and diving into smaller games that won't fill an episode of the regular podcast and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of games that we will do research on, and we'll end up with a page of lore, and it's like, well, that's not enough to do a full episode.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll sprinkle some of those into like compilation episodes or something at some point too.
Ooh.
But beyond that, it's kind of hard to say what's the big thing that we're going to be doing because it just kind of depends on what games we get kind of drawn into.
Gotcha.
We do want to start doing games that are more current also. Like a lot of our games are old. Like we covered Zork, a franchise that hasn't been relevant since I think 2009. Like,
but the sad part is, I personally still think 2009 wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but that wasn't a very good game in 2009. The good ones were before that, even.
Oh, yeah, true.
It was interesting to do a game like Zork as a franchise was interesting to do though because it's like, oh, this is a franchise that started before we were born. Like. Not many franchises you can say have lore that go back that far. But yeah, I can't really speak to any big plans. I do know what our next episode is.
Oh,
that's going to be it's going to be the first Tiberium War.
Ooh.
Command and Conquer.
Yep.
All right. Dang! How many episodes in are you guys? I mean, like overall, how many episodes? Have you gotten in the bag, like total for the entire podcast?
Tiberium War is going to be episode 54.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
So we just crossed our technical our season 1, as most people would say, like the 1 year thing, but we're not doing. We do it every other week, so it doesn't quite work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Very, very nice.
And I do have a list of like 30 games going that I do want to cover. So we have plenty to go still.
So many games, so little time.
Yeah. And that's not including like the big franchises, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Elder Scrolls. I want to get back into Guild Wars just because it's a game I play a lot. So it's just easy to pull stuff from. We also want to start doing more books. I think there's a lot of video game books that we feel are kind of overlooked. Like we just found out with our Unreal episode that there are 2 books in for the Unreal franchise.
Huh.
We didn't know this at all. We actually contacted the author and be like, we can't find these. Do you have any? He goes, yeah, I'll send you both copies.
Oh snap! Damn, that's cool.
That's awesome.
So we're going to probably do run-throughs of those at some point too. Not that they're going to be great, I think. Actually, maybe they will be. I don't know. Haven't read them.
That's cool.
They're asking if we have any big plans for the podcast.
Oh yeah, I heard you talk about the Unreal stuff while I was dealing with
Teething.
well, little buddy wet himself. So
Oh no!
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I wonder because I think that happened last night too. I wonder if like his brain switching to that like I gotta wake up to use the bathroom, and he's not at potty training yet, so that's it's gonna stink for us. So, but yeah, no, the Unreal books.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that just because it's just gonna be. I think it's gonna be so bad it's good.
Yeah, I mentioned that we want to do more books. I mentioned we wanted to do.
Yeah, I have to think of more voice actors to do for special episodes too. Like we did.
Oh yeah, we did a patron exclusive episode on Keith David,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
nice.
we want to get into more like voice actors who did multiple
Video game
roles and
specific
everything.
stuff. Keith David's just the one that like.
How come you haven't done Jennifer Hale yet?
Right?
Oh, that's
She's
yeah.
I feel
need
like
to
she's
do
the most
her.
prolific voice actress in video games.
She is.
Yes,
Because I feel like
yeah.
Cree Summer is the most prolific voice actress in animated shows and movies.
What about Troy
Mhm.
Baker?
Troy Baker is the most prolific, male. Actually, no. Him and Nolan North are having a slap fight for that
Yeah.
title.
Troy Baker, I do know is in Guild Wars, so I can tie that in.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah,
So there's a few we should really focus on and get
Or
an
Steve
idea.
Blum.
Steve
yes.
Blum. Yeah, Steve Blum is
Yes.
he's anime as well. He's anime, cartoons, and video games.
I should
You
know.
have to with that voice.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, true, true.
I should know this more because I watch Critical Role, which is just a bunch of nerdy voice actors literally just doing nerdy stuff and when they're not voice acting. So
Yeah.
I should know this better.
I will
but-
say I've started to realize voice actors more in games when I like. So tying it back to Guild Wars though, but I'm playing Guild Wars 2. If you're playing a Savari female, it is voiced by Jennifer Hale, and there are numerous
that's
characters
right.
voiced by Kimberly Brooks, who played Ashley Williams in Mass Effect.
Yes,
And she calls you Commander, and it has that same
it has
cadence.
that ring. It has that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that, and I was like, well, that's just a mind trip. I couldn't deal. I would not be able to deal with that.
Well, it's like listening to Armin Shimmerman in Mass Effect 1 calling you Commander, and it's like, oh, you're Quark.
Yeah,
Real, yes.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, so there's some voice actor stuff we want to do. I want to do more mini-sodes and like one-off, like little dorky stuff. I mean, I think that's it. That I could think. We need to connect with more podcasts too.
Yeah. I mentioned we were going to do more streaming and stuff as well. And
we want to do more. We're getting more consistent with our streaming, and also like I'm not only like making sure I'm connecting with our Boss Rush family more and better, but also like next week I'm scheduled to record with the Dragon Age Lorecast because they're going to do a special episode on Cullen, and they invited me to on to do it. So
specifically, you can go do that one.
that's me.
So
That's That's all me.
This
In
is
a
like, nope.
relationship, you know what your strengths are, and Dragon Age lore is mine. But yeah, like we're trying to reach out and branch out to other people and do more stuff because we've had fun doing it, and now we feel like we figured out.
Now that we kind of have hit a rhythm and kind of feel like we've made it to a threshold, I think it's time to start branching out and doing things with other people. Maybe bringing guests onto our show and stuff.
Yeah. So that's
Nice.
the plan.
I can't say I'm a lore master, but if you ever want someone to just like be a nerd about this stuff,
That the beauty of the way the episodes are is that Mystic does or one of us does the research. It's usually Mystic.
And the other person just
So if you just want
riffs.
to riff with one of us while the other one pontificates about what they researched, like, hey, we would happy to have you. So.
Yeah.
all right, awesome. All right, well, you know what? I think now is good good enough time for it. Let's go ahead and wrap this show up.
Yeah.
What do you guys say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that works. Yeah.
Are we in zombie mode now?
little bit.
I'm a little janed. I had to wrestle a toddler just now, so you know.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, this has been episode 118 of the Boss Rush Podcast. We want to thank everyone that tuned in with us tonight, as well as our wonderful guests, Mystic and Sapphy from Lore Together. As always, now's the time to go ahead and let everybody know where everybody can be found at. So we'll go ahead and start with you guys first, Lore Together. Throw your plugs out there.
Well, our plugs are the same as in every single episode. If you want to contact us, you can do that at Lore Together on Twitter. You can do that on Instagram at Lore Together, or through email at loretogether@gmail.com.
Like such enthusiasm there. Oh my gosh.
I'm tired more than I usually do when I do that whole spiel.
So that's true. Feel free to reach out to let us know about like any
Usually
episode
that
ideas
spiel
and
is
stuff.
about 2 hours before now.
Yes. True.
True.
Yeah. Reach out to us that way. Keep us
Or on the Boss Rush Discord.
Yes, I am the one that's on the Boss Rush Discord, and we like seeing everybody on the channels. And I guess that's it.
That's where you can find us.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Stephanie, you're up.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, even though Instagram's more for pictures of food, at Klimov, KLIMOV_author. And you can find various articles of mine on bossrush.net.
All right. And as always, you can find me on social media at Exodus803, EXODUS803. That's Twitter and Instagram. That's also my Twitch and YouTube channels. So don't forget, Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/Exodus803. Crossroads PlayStation Podcast with myself, Austin Campbell, Chris True, and Nellie Locke. And I'm also the host of Boss Rush After Dark, which is one of our patron series that you can actually get an early listen at before if you are one of our patrons. So don't forget about patreon.com/BossRushNetwork for that if you want to check out some early content, because we have a lot of it for you nowadays. And last but not least, don't forget my gamer tag is also Exodus803. Just in case you guys want to find me online and play some games with me, there you go.
Yeah.
This has been the Boss Rush Podcast for the Boss Rush Network. We thanks for everyone for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you. We love you. And as always, as we sign off, remember to play games and be better. All right, everyone. We're signing off. Have a good night.
Peace.
Have a good night.
Good night.